Hello, I wanted to talk about the good news that Jesus brought, and not the threats that the priests and the scribes created with the words of Jesus and with the words of the prophets. A number of people have said to me, well, who's going to perish and who's going to go into eternal damnation? And that does not exist in the New Testament. Eternal damnation existed before Jesus's restoration and Jesus' victory over death. Somebody pointed out to me, well, read John 3:16 to 3:18, and it says we're condemned who don't believe in Jesus. Well, take a look at those passages in the Bible and read them very carefully, because it says that Jesus came into this world so that the world will be redeemed. And to believe in Jesus, you will be redeemed. But if you read further, you find out, well, the world was already condemned anyway. And all of humanity was condemned anyway. And he came to redeem us. And we can only be redeemed through Jesus. But that doesn't mean if we don't believe in Jesus in this lifetime, that we will be condemned, because we're already condemned. That already happened long, 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 long ago, in the fall of a third of heaven, when 1/3 of heaven's host followed the adversary, the adversary of Jesus. But Jesus has come to defeat the adversary, defeat death, defeat Lucifer. And he created a path for all the condemned to return to his kingdom through him. And the point is that there have been billions of lives lived by humanity. Over 110 billion humans have lived on this earth. And at least 20, if not 30 billion of those have never, ever had the opportunity to know Jesus. So how can God be good if the only way to heaven is through Jesus? Well, it was taught in early Christianity, as it is taught today in Buddhism, that in order to become perfect as God is perfect, in Matthew 5, it takes multiple lifetimes. And through these multiple lifetimes, every single fallen soul has the opportunity to know Jesus. And that's how God is good, because he gives every one of his children the opportunity to come back to him, regardless of how long it takes. And even the adversary will eventually come home. And there'll be great celebration, as Jesus tells us in the parable of the prodigal son. Because it is he who is the prodigal son, the one who squandered his inheritance from the father and destroyed so much along the way. But eventually, after all of his followers have come home, he will too come home to a great celebration, when eventually heaven will be restored to its greatness, as it was in Revelations 4, with the beauty of the throne of God. So don't worry about perishing. Don't worry about other people. Worry about what Jesus told us, that we need to love our neighbors. We need to love our enemies. And we need to become perfect as God is perfect. And we do that by following in the steps of Jesus. It takes more than just believing in Jesus. It takes walking in his footsteps. And that doesn't happen in one lifetime. That happens in many lifetimes. And maybe you've had the opportunity to meet somebody like that in your lifetime who is walking in Jesus's path. And so you can have a opportunity to have a role model who is doing that. I'm a long way from it. I don't pretend to be that role model, but at least I know that is the path. And it's a very safe path for every single person, whether you're Buddhist, Hindu, Jewish, Muslim, or an atheist. You're all on the same path, and we are all on the same path. So may God bless you and guide you on your path. And in this lifetime, I hope you can learn what you're supposed to learn. And I don't pretend to know what that is.